Alright, so let's start a midsummer, midday garden tour here. It was a very quiet June, very rainy, cool, not much growing going on. But the last couple of weeks have turned out much better. We'll look around here. This is the nursery bed for my daylilies. And they're just kind of sitting here, not a lot of flowers. But that's okay. This is a temporary spot for them, I think. Giant pumpkin. Gonna have to keep an eye on these guys because they really got knocked last year with squash vine borers. I had hoped that they would grow to the right over here, but that didn't happen. It's uphill for the plants, so they chose the downhill route, which means they're going to invade the whole rest of the garden, at least come through this bed of zinnias and sunflowers and probably the broom corn in the back as well. These plants are much shorter, I think, than they would be. They're 3 feet or so, and I would expect them to be 5 or 6. But again, that June was just so cool and cloudy and rainy that there wasn't a lot of growing going on for anything. Here's the modest herb patch. Thyme, rosemary, parsley, lavender. I got a little sage there in the middle. It took a hit, everything got moldy, but it's coming back again. Handful of zinnias. And this ornamental grass called Purple Majesty. It was, I don't know, $2 or $3 for 10 seeds, and I got, I think, 8 or 9 plants out of it. There's also a broom corn volunteer, not a volunteer, but when they transplanted them, they all looked the same. So we'll see how these guys progress. Here in the back, I got marigolds, peppers, and cukes all kind of crowded in. Some of the cukes are beginning to climb up the trellis, but I think I planted them too far away for that to have any real effect. Next year I'll plant them much closer to the trellis and do more to train them to come up. Peppers. These are cayenne peppers that I put in at the last minute. They're actually putting out fruit. They're also going to get crowded by the cukes, I think. And I'm going to have to watch and probably spray the cukes for wilt. Squash vine borers are always a problem, and cucumber beetles are always a problem. So I'll get started on preventing that in the next few days. That bare patch there is an herb or a salad green called saltwort, but it barely came up, and it's not looking too good there. There is some saltwort, but not too much. Some more cukes, but again, they're not quite climbing the little teepee trellis I made for them. Some zinnias that haven't started flowering yet, and then some more marigolds. The zinnias you can see are also short. These last year certainly were twice the height. They're just starting to flower too. We'll see if they flower up as doubles or if they've reverted. They should be really full doubles. These little patches of marigolds here are doing all right. They had a tough time last month with the crappy weather and also snails. I've got a lot of snails, and now things are growing too fast for the snails to keep up with. I lost one pepper plant. This is a sweet pepper, so that's that gap there, and I never got anything in the middle. And these are also well behind. They really needed it so much hotter and sunnier last month. There's some bee balm that sort of got knocked down. Some clematis, one that's flowering nicely. One that flowered early but hasn't flowered since, but it is climbing up the stalks. Here's my attempt to participate in the commodities market here. I got some soybeans, and they're looking really lush. They're looking really lush. They're fun. I think I'll grow them every year, and I'll just kind of move them from one bed to another and just kind of rotate them through, have them revive the soil a bit. Here's tomato jungle. Everything except for one or two plants are staked and caged. There are 14 plants in this area. I've got my favorite heirloom, Paul Robeson, which is very prolific. I've got my favorite hybrids, Jet Star and Orange Blossom over there. This is in this white cage, this is a grape tomato called Black Cherry or something like that, I forget. So I put the plants about, looks like 1.5 feet or so apart, and they went crazy last month, even with the crappy weather, but they didn't put out a lot of flowers. They've only started putting out flowers in the last couple weeks. That's all junk I gotta clear out here. Let's go around the other side. Yeah, I'm going to be filling that area in there and kind of extending this bed down toward the grass. My yarrow. I love the smell of yarrow. The greens. It's really minty and herbal. Some more broomcorn. I've got broomcorn over there in back of the sunflowers, and this patch of broomcorn, and it's called I think it's called Texas Black, so it's a different variety than I have been growing. My sunflowers in here not doing real big. We'll see how they come up. A couple of zucchini plants. I lost one of my hills here to damage. This is my ornamental corn. Boy, the snails have really been in here, huh? Look at that. Oh. Just watch me execute some snails. Little fuckers are really problematic here. I'll have to do something more for snail control next year. But this is an ornamental corn called strawberry, like 2-inch long ears with red kernels that you can actually use for popcorn. Here's my pretty ornamental grass. The broomcorn here. This is a nice place to sit, especially early in the day. Because right now the sun's directly on us, but early in the day with the sun coming from the east, we're kind of hidden and shaded. And we get a nice view of the rest of the garden here. Good place to hang out early in the morning with coffee.